Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Halfback Dynasty. My name is Brendan. We are joined today with our co-host, Tyler. Tyler, how the heck you feeling out there all the way in Colorado, my friend?
Brendan, I'm feeling great, man. Just had a baller meal. My wife is classically trained in French cooking. It's amazing.
Ooh.
She always just opens the fridge, has no plan, puts down a gourmet meal that's just incredible. And then the opposite, when it's my night and I'm not prepared, rice maker, sausage, pour some teriyaki on there, cut up a couple peppers, dump it on the bowl. Tastes the same every night I cook, no matter what it is. But,
consistency.
man, my wife just put on a clinic downstairs, so I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, man. I'm not going to lie, that's making me a little bit hungry right now, but it's all good. Tyler, I don't know if you know this. I actually just ran about 3 miles about 10 minutes before we logged on because we've got the half marathon coming up in September. I'm overweight. I'm not prepared, but it's never too late to start now. We're not talking about dynasty football today. We're motivational speakers. Just joking, of course, Tyler. I'd love to be a motivational speaker, but I'm not. You're better than that at me for sure.
I was gonna say, man, I thought you looked good. Your face looks little chiseled. Your hair, I don't know, man. You get a haircut, you're looking good, man.
I sure did. I got that nice fade action. I went to a new place in my neighborhood. I actually thought they killed it, so we might be going back.
You're looking good, man. If there's ever a time in our big league that you and I play in the finals and I win, you're growing a mullet.
You know what, dude? Here's the deal. I actually made the commitment. First off, absolutely down. I'm not going to shy away from a challenge, but I actually made the decision to grow my hair out after I leave the West Loop of Chicago, just because, well, actually, I told my girlfriend I was going to do it. I talked to her mom about it. She said, you better not do it. So I was like, dang it, I might as well get a fresh cut now. Once we leave the West Loop of Chicago, just because it's kind of a fun place to be, lots of young adults. I'm trying to keep that nice professional, I guess, shortcut right now. Reason being, Tyler, as a person who's grown my hair out, you know that there is a few months, maybe like through months 4 through 7, you're kind of in between chops, and it gets pretty difficult. Like, to me, I got to wear a lot of hats. When I grew my hair out, those months were very difficult. For you, you've already got the flow and the lettuce accomplished, so you're all set, man. But getting it to that length, there's a lot of hardships involved, if you know what I mean.
Like I've told you a million times, man, as a kid that played hockey pretty much since I could walk, played in college, I know all about the efforts of growing out the flow, getting to a point where you feel comfortable and you don't just look like a piece of human garbage. Well, I've been there, but Brendan, I'm looking forward to you growing it out. Like your boy,
I will.
Like your boy MF Doom, or his alter ego King Ghidorah said, used to rock the shag no fade,
It's going to happen. Maybe for our Vegas trip in a couple of years for the draft. That'd be epic. Pulling up looking like Greg Minshew out there. But Tyler, I will do it. I just have to be ready to go through like months 3. I'll say months 3 through 7 are where it gets really difficult. Until you get the nice shoulder length, that's when it's like, it's iffy, but we're going to pull through, my friend. It's a commitment live on air right now. It's written, it's verbal, whatever you want to say, I cannot back down. So it's basically a blood oath that I will do it. All right.
I love it, man. It sounds good. Yeah. In Vegas, I want to be, we can just reenact the scene. I'll be Bradley Cooper behind you and you can be Galifianakis. We'll go count some cards.
Win some money. Draft some rookies, win some money, it'll be all good. It'll be all good. Sick, brother. All right. So today we kind of just wanted to keep it a little bit short, do something that we haven't really done in a while. And that's just talk about some sleeper picks that we would probably go after. Not necessarily picks, but let's say players that we'd go after that maybe are not as expensive as other guys. So for example, we could pick one quarterback each, one RB, wide receiver, and tight end. Somebody who you view as not a top guy, but you think the price is right, or maybe you buy low on them currently, I guess, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Totally does, man. Yeah, to get started, I guess we'll just bounce back and forth between the
Mhm.
position. I don't know if it's kind of a cliche this offseason, but I'm going Sam Darnold at QB. I'm kind of
Sure.
buying it. Adam Gase is we've talked about Adam Gase, so I hold nothing against Darnold for the Jets. They had almost no playmakers at any point when he was there.
Mhm.
So you got DJ Moore, you got CMC, obviously. Robbie Anderson's not a great fantasy asset, but he's a better player in real life than he is asset. So
Mhm.
I expect Sam Darnold to have a decent year. He would
Mhm.
be, I think he's cheap in SF. I think he's dirt cheap in a one QB. And I'm not saying he's the safest play, but hey, if you're looking for a QB, even a backup QB in a one QB, I think you could get him for a third or fourth, and most,
Mhm.
maybe not ours. Ours is probably an early first, but I'd go
Hear
Sam
that?
Darnold.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, even if I've got 10 quarterbacks on my one QB league roster, I mean, I'd gladly chalk up a fourth round pick for Darnold. Honestly, who cares? He's starting quarterback, has some decent weapons, as you mentioned. So, not a bad move at all. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, being an Elvin Kamara owner now, I really, really am relying on Jameis Winston to come through. So that's probably my sleeper pick.
Yeah.
Reason why it's obviously sketchy is because we have no idea what they're going to do. The Saints could implement maybe a 2 quarterback system. It'd be weird.
Could
But dude,
happen.
I don't know. I've been reading reports that Taysom Hill could be their guy, and more people are low key saying it. I'm just like, how? How is that possible? So here's the deal, Tyler. I'm picking Jameis Winston because if he starts, or even it doesn't matter, maybe he doesn't start for the first 4 games. Whenever he does start, if he can hold that starting role, he has potential to be top 15 quarterback play throughout the season. So that's my pick right there, my man.
Absolutely. He's got huge upside. I mean, even when he threw 47 picks or whatever he did with that one year in Tampa, man, he
I
was a
think it was
top
like 50 touchdowns, 50
Yeah,
picks.
I think he had a top. I think he legitimately was a top five. So huge upside, huge arm. I mean, he's going to have Michael Thomas. Maybe this is the year Traquan Smith does something, but there's a lot of weapons there. So, I mean, you and I talked about Hill at length last year. That I mean, they took Breeze off the field for Hill, which was always shocking for me. So I
Mhm.
could see him spelling Winston, but I like the pick, man. I tried hard. I think you knew, but early in our offseason, I pushed hard for Winston just because I
Mhm.
needed a backup, but couldn't land him because there's too much upside there, you know?
Couldn't land him because nobody trades quarterback. So,
Nobody.
oh my goodness, I bet you somebody could trade for like Brett Favre, Donovan McNabb, just to get him on the roster.
You got to get him, man. Just in case. Just in case.
All right, cool. Well, let's move into running back. Who is your sleeper pick, your sleeper buy, your buy low, whatever you want to call it at the running back position?
I was able to land this guy for Ruggs and OJ Howard, and he was kind of one of my top offseason buys. I like Zack Moss a lot.
Mhm.
I don't think Devin Singletary is their guy. I'm not saying that it won't be a committee in Buffalo, but Singletary's had 2 years to prove he's the guy. He's just not
Mhm.
that great, or he isn't a lead back. It's maybe not that he's not great, but maybe he's more of a spell back. Zack Moss is not fast. He's not overly athletic, but he's just a downfield, one cut, kind of battering ram running back. When he was healthy last year, man, I went through his tape. He looked really good.
Mhm.
So I think with Allen there and having a good offense, I think he's a good goal line threat. If Allen doesn't get those carries, it's kind of like a running back with Lamar Jackson. They're going to lose some touches in the red zone, but I like Zack Moss as a top 20 running back, and I don't think he'll cost you much.
So, do you think that if the Bills were to have drafted a superstar running back in this year's draft, do you really feel that it would elevate their offense that much, being a high-powered offense with Josh Allen capable of running and their passing attack with Stephon Diggs, at the time John Brown? I think they have Emmanuel Sanders now. Do you think that it was the right move not drafting a running back this year?
I actually do because I know Zack Moss struggled with injuries, so I'm
Mhm.
not 100% sure you know what you have there. Maybe you already have your guy on your roster, and with Allen's ability to rush, I just don't think you needed to waste even a second or third round pick on a running back for that team. I really don't. You already had a high powered offense that runs through your QB. So, no, I
Mhm.
think if you come out this year and Singletary doesn't make a jump and Moss doesn't make a jump, yeah, you probably address that. But um, no, I think they did the right thing by not wasting, but using a higher mid-tier draft pick on a running back. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, clearly they were able to do some work this past season. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think they're primed to win the Super Bowl right now. I really think they could win a Super Bowl, and I don't think a running back wasting a high end pick is worth it for them, assuming they can get good production. So I just have another question for you. I just pulled up the metrics of Zack Moss and Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary is 5'7" and weighs 203. That's incredibly small for a running back. Zack Moss is 5'9", 205. I'm not too sure what they were thinking drafting Zack Moss, having two very similarly built running backs run their backfield. It was very confusing when they did take Zack Moss at the time. Although I am with you that right now I think Zack Moss is the better running back than Devin Singletary. It just seems bizarre that your two main backs are both incredibly tiny. So
Yeah, I mean, Zach Moss is closer to a prototypical running back, but yeah, definitely needs a few inches and maybe a few pounds. But um,
mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I just think it's going to be really interesting to watch how that plays out. I think if Zach Moss, comes out early and really grabs that backfield, I mean, I don't think you owe much to Devin Singletary. I don't think
He's had a shot, man.
yeah,
He's
he
had a
hasn't really
shot.
done anything to try and lock up that backfield. So in my opinion, and
Mhm.
Zach Moss can catch the ball. He was very productive in college. So I think he's a great buy. I mean, if he doesn't pan out, it's not like he's going to cost you a first round pick or equivalent value. You could probably,
Probably a third. I
yeah,
bet you maybe a late second at the most, but I bet you could grab him for like an early third or even a receiver such as Henry Ruggs.
yeah. I mean,
Or
you know my build, Brendan. Very much more lean at running back, and a trade like that for me was a no brainer. I mean, OJ
Mhm.
Howard I like, but he's 27, coming off a torn Achilles tendon. It's probably not going to happen for Howard. I hope he does because I really like him as a player. And Henry Ruggs, uh, I don't know, man. I
Bust.
Too early to say, but I think he's better in real life than fantasy. He's there to open up defenses. That does not score you points in fantasy. So for me, I was thrilled when I got that final
Mhm.
offer that was the price. It was a no-brainer. Usually I'll hem and haw on trades for days, but that was just like a yep.
Easy buy low opportunity, and it gives you a chance at some good running back production. So I like that move for you. I really do. Cool, man. Yeah, so I'm rooting on Zach Moss for you. Actually, I drafted him in a league last year, and then I actually flipped him for 2021 seconds, so 2 seconds this year, which I turned into a couple receivers at the time, which we'll see how they pan out. Obviously, that draft was this year. So not bad value though. I like Zach Moss. I think he takes the lead back role and he'll have the majority of touches. So maybe like a 70 to 30% share, I think, in favor of Moss. 65-35 if we're pushing it.
Totally.
So
I see something like that. He's not going to take it and roll. I mean, Singletary's still going to play. So
absolutely. Cool, man. Well, I kind of have like two. I don't know who to pick. I'll give both of them. One
yep.
of them is for sure Damian Harris. I really like
Yeah.
Damian Harris this year. I don't think there's anybody on the depth chart on the Patriots and the running back room that will outperform Damian Harris. I know they drafted that running back in the fourth round. What was his
Yeah.
name? Ramondre Stevens or something.
Yep.
Yeah, honestly, I've read some decent reports that he's okay, but anytime you have a running back that's drafted outside of like the third, honestly, it's a journeyman type of career at that point. They really need things to swing their way. But knowing the Patriots and Belichick, obviously they prefer a running back by committee. So I'm sure that guy will get some touches. But my point being, Damian Harris knows the offense. He's been on the roster for a few years. They have Mac Jones coming in, who will probably need to lean on the running back role a little bit, assuming Cam Newton isn't playing that much this year. I saw actually Cam Newton's first day at OTAs, I think. Dude, he looked awful. He looked so bad. Did you see the clips, bro, of him overthrowing the receivers like 20 yards out? It was so bad.
No, I didn't see it.
It was so bad. But knowing the Patriots, I mean, they're probably going to start him or trade him. It's tough throwing a rookie out there right away. My point being, though, as their offense settles in, I think Damian Harris will get some good production. Maybe Sony Michel type level, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens with both of them. I was going to say, I was just going to piggyback off you. I also think Sony Michel is a buy low, just a very, very buy low with no expectations. But I think it was the last game of the year, man. He rushed for like 140 yards and a touchdown when he was back healthy. So, but I'm with you. I think Damian Harris is a great pick. They got to give him the ball. When he never got a ton of touches last year, but when he got touches, man, he looked great.
He looks pretty
good.
That
Ramondre Stevens, man, interesting build. That dude's like 260 or something, legitimately.
Like that's a big back.
Jared Blunt.
Plus, yeah, that's what I was about to say, dude. He's ready to truck some people, maybe occasionally jump over some people too. Man, those Garrett Blunt highlights were freaking sick, man. When he was on Tampa Bay, that was crazy.
That was insane, man.
Crazy. Cool. Well, real quick, my second buy low, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily a buy low. I think it's kind of cast in the middle a little bit, depending on league. And it's probably pretty obvious, but Myles Gaskin, man, he looks like he could be the guy this year for a contender. I'd only be buying him if I'm contending, with hopes that he remains their starting running back, which I haven't heard anything that he won't be their starting running back. So I'm excited to see what he does. He put up some great numbers last year when he was healthy. He was a pretty good receiving running back, and, you know, he rushed the ball pretty well. So I don't know, man. I like him this year again. I really do. That offense is only going to get better too.
I think that's a great call, Brendan. I've said it a few times on the forum that, you know, he's a buy low because everybody just assumes after this year he's done. I mean, if he shows well again, why wouldn't he be the running back, their running back? I'm not sure why everybody's so convinced that after this year, Myles Gaskin's just done. So I think
we thought this last year, though, too.
Exactly. I was going to say that he was done this year. They were going to draft Harris, you know, and they didn't. So I think it's a shrewd move to buy him now. And if he hits, he's probably their running back going forward. And I think that's a great call, man. Myles Gaskin is a absolute price check if you need running back help, you know.
No Where do you see him finishing? If he starts all year, I mean, obviously barring injuries.
He stays healthy. Top 12, man. I really do, because he can catch.
He finished like top 15. I think maybe 17 if we're pushing it. Like, and he was hurt for like 6-7 weeks or whatever it was. Dude, he was producing, man. He was producing.
I would say top 12 because, I mean, Tua doesn't really steal the red zone carries as much as some of the other guys. The only thing I can say when I really dug into Gaskin is he is a very workload dependent because his efficiency is not good, whereas Selvin Ahmed, who I think is going to get touches too, was incredibly efficient. Like, he looks more like he'll average 5 a carry, while Gaskin might get 3.8, but if he gets 25 carries, he's over 100 yards. I mean,
no doubt.
That's the only thing that makes me worried about Gaskin is if his efficiency drops and he has a couple bad weeks and Ahmed goes for, 10 for 85.
It switches.
Yeah, what happens?
Switch.
No, I'm with you, man. Gaskin, I as a person that needs running backs, have price checked, Because he's got RB1 written all over it because of his workload. There's not much competition, and he's the guy, period, So
if I'm contending and I know he's going to be the starter, I'd be more than happy to give up any second-round pick for him this year. Assuming, maybe it's week 1 or it's after preseason, I would obviously want that guarantee that he's going to be at least their starter, because even when he was splitting some carries last season, he still was getting the bulk of the work, surprisingly. And then it was like like week 2 or week 3 passing, you're like, wow, what's going on? Then week 4, and like he remained that guy who was ahead of the other running backs on the roster. So it's going to be real interesting to follow along. I'm excited to see what happens. So, all right, Tyler, this is probably your favorite position in all of fantasy football, the wide receiver position. Who is your buy low? Who is your sleeper pick here?
I mean, I gave it a lot of thought, man. I just kept going back to the same offense. Gabriel Davis, for me, has got a ton to love. I mean, I personally don't think Cole Beasley's going to repeat what he did last year and be a top 20 receiver. I'm not even sure Diggs is going to be a top 10. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but Diggs has done this. He's had huge years, bounce back. I think he maybe found consistency was what he's lacked for a long time. So I don't even think it matters if Diggs does have a huge season. Davis, there's a ton to like. Allen's got a huge arm. Davis is a guy that, has 3 catches for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's definitely a home run kind of guy, but I think he could settle into a more 5-6 catches kind of role. And I don't know if he'll hit right away, but I think as the year goes, he's kind of my pick. I kind of looked at Hardman, but with Robinson coming back to KC, Hardman's really not made any jumps. So Hardman's kind of been that guy for a couple of years already. So
he's had his chance, man. He's had his chance. Well, I thought you were going to say Colin Johnson, my man.
I'm extremely excited to see what he does, but there's a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed on every offense anymore, but Colin Johnson with Lawrence and his size and the difference between his game and the other receivers on the roster, there's a lot of upside there, and you could probably trade a 5th rounder for him.
Yeah, that's a deal, bro. That's a deal. I'm not gonna lie, I like Gabriel Davis a lot this year too. That offense is too potent. I mean, we saw that Josh Allen zoned in on his throwing capabilities from his first couple of years to last year. So, dude, I'm telling you, I bet you that the Vegas odds of the Bills taking it all have to be pretty decent. The best it's been in probably decades. So I think that offense still will remain top 5 offense. And there's a lot of room for Gabriel Davis to make some big plays. So I do like that. And honestly, having Diggs on that roster probably helps him a lot, actually. Yeah. So, and I don't think Emmanuel Sanders will really do much. I'm pretty sure he's on the team, isn't he?
I think so. And some of this, Brendan, is future forward. Even if Davis doesn't hit this year, Cole Beasley's not the future of the Bills receiving core. What is he, 34? Like he's
about 100 in NFL years.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if you're looking down the line, grab Davis now in case he goes for 806 touchdowns, then you're not going to be able to get him for what you get right now.
Exactly. At that point, he'll be worth a 2nd or 3rd, probably a 2nd round pick after that type of season. Right now, he's probably a 3rd. Yeah.
He's super young. So that immediately boosts your value.
Sure. So. Cool, man. Well, I love the pick. Love the pick. So I got 2 guys again as well. Real quick. One of them being Bryan Edwards. I hope he steps up because his season was incredibly disappointing due to injuries and whatnot. There was so much hype on him being kind of that breakout player, that sleeper pick in last year's draft, just because I think, his breakout age was like 18, 19 or whatever it was. He had some red flags. He had some green flags. And it just never happened. And due to injuries and whatnot. And I don't think that the Raiders offense has been as potent as most people want. But besides Waller, I mean, who else are they going to throw to? I think Josh Jacobs is going to lose a bunch of carries and catches because they have Kenyon. I think it's Kenyon Drake, isn't it?
Yeah, Drake went there. He's good.
They got Kenyon Drake. Yeah. And so I don't know, man. It just seems like Bryan Edwards has a better overall receiving game than Henry Ruggs, who is a downfield threat. So I'd like to see Bryan Edwards step up a bit here.
Good pick. Yeah, dirt cheap, I'm sure. Some owners probably aren't willing to trade him because they'd rather hold. So it's going to depend on the owner, but good pick. Yeah, no reason to think that he can't step up because, Nelson Aguilar's gone. Somebody's got to catch the ball. I mean, Waller's obviously going to catch 30 a game, but
Waller's my dude, bro. Waller literally won me a championship, man.
He's
That
a
guy,
beast.
complete stud out of nowhere. Well, actually, we've talked about his story before, and like, dude, I remember when he came back from like his drug stints, back to the Ravens. He was just telling in interviews how he was dusting everybody on
he's
the
a
field.
beast.
All the first string defensive players, he was dusting them all. But at that time, they had drafted Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews, so they kind of gave up on Waller. They kind of like were like, yo, we want to keep you on the roster. We'll put you on the practice squad, blah, blah, blah. But then Waller said, no, I'm out. Then somehow worked his way to Vegas and is a complete stud, dude. That guy's a champ, man. That story is unbelievable.
He's unreal. I'd rather have Waller than Kittle. So
yeah, hey, it's a bold statement in the fantasy community, but I totally understand. Kittle, he gets injured and he will throw up big games, but Waller has those big games every freaking week, my man. Every week.
Yeah.
So cool. And then real quick, my second pick is Quintin Cephus of the Detroit Lions, because of the same idea. Who are they going to throw to? It's a new quarterback in town. And historically, has Jared Goff really relied on tight ends that much? So if TJ Hawkinson is the number one, I guess, pass catcher, I mean, I don't know. Who comes to mind for tight ends for Jared Goff in the past? Gerald Everett, Tyler Higbee. Those are the two most recent I have. And I know Higbee had a stint with the Rams like last year, 2 years ago. But I don't know, man. Is DeAndre Swift going to turn it up? Is he going to rely on TJ Hawkins? I don't think so, dude. I think Quintin Cephus has a shot to be really good this year. So
yeah, I like that pick a lot. He has a little bit of a Robert Woods esque skill set, and obviously you know what Robert Woods did with Jared Goff. So the most underrated top 20 receiver ever, because nobody ever wanted him in fantasy. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that pick, man. Because Marvin Jones, he's super inconsistent. You got St. Brown. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of targets to go around in Detroit with Kenny Golladay gone.
Yeah. So I think there's something to be said. And for those of you listening, I'm not necessarily too high on Amon-Ra St. Brown's skill set per se, but the opportunity is too good. The value is really good in the rookie drafts to take him. So it could be worth a shot.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that Cephus and or St. Brown is their number one target. I mean, that's crazy. Again, Marvin Jones has 12 catches for 200 yards and 2 scores, and then he goes 5 weeks in a row where he has less than 30 yards. That's not a number one receiver. So
exactly. Dude, the potential is there.
Step up, man.
And listen, Detroit has literally nothing to lose. I mean, are they really going to try to contend this year? Probably not.
I hope. They have the worst defense imaginable. Their defense is atrocious.
They're going to finish last in the NFC North, and that's always how it goes. Honestly, being a Bears fan, we are always stoked to play the Lions twice, except maybe we'll lose to them one game because we always play horrible against really bad teams. But
the Detroit's probably going 3 or 4 and whatever. How many? There's an extra game this year,
I think
right?
17. Yeah. So
I don't even know how many games there are.
I
only care about fantasy games. You know,
exactly.
That's all I care about. Is we get an extra week in fantasy.
Let's go. That's what it's about, my friend. So
yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, let's move into tight ends. Before you say your pick here, I kind of want to take a guess. I'm going to take a guess here. Give me 3 guesses to see if I'm picking who you were considering as your sleeper pick. I know you're big on Irv Smith, but I don't really think that's a sleeper pick per se.
Agreed.
Okay, here we go. I could see you rolling with I could see Chris Herndon. I could see David Njoku. That's your boy.
That's my boy. He's still on my roster, baby.
All right, you know what? I'm going to dial in. I'm thinking that you're considering Albert O as your sleeper pick. Was that right or no?
It's very interesting. I actually think Albert O when he played last year, those couple games, he was
he's decent.
Better than Fant for 2 of them. So, no, I like that pick. Honestly, man, this is going to sound really lame, but I didn't give much thought in tight end. I'm done with tight ends.
There's no reason to, unless you get a top guy.
So over tight ends, man. If I had to pick, I'm going with my boy. It's Njoku's year finally, baby. All in on Njoku. Austin Hooper was a Boston, Cleveland, and down the stretch in the playoffs, man, Njoku looked pretty good. They just got to get him the ball.
Yeah, dude. Honestly,
I do like Chris Herndon in New York as well.
yeah, we'll see if he can make something happen. But dude, honestly, I was so geeked for Njoku to start balling out in Cleveland. I think it was 2 years ago, but then he broke his wrist. He broke his arm or whatever.
Yeah, because he had that huge week 1, and it was like, oh
dude,
God, he's finally
disappointing.
arrived. So, little disclaimer for Pitt's diehards out there: be careful on the greatest tight end prospects
Of all time. every 2 years, there's a new greatest tight end prospect of all time. So, okay.
Talent.
Makes sense. Honestly, so I'm super eager. I don't really know if this is a sleeper pick because he's a rookie. I'm super eager to see if Pat Freiermuth can do something.
Mm-hmm.
I like tight ends in Pittsburgh. I think historically there have been some pretty decent ones, at least with the chance of production. I mean, at this point, these sleeper picks, 0% chance any of them finish top 3. So you're going for like a top 10 tight end, which gets you 3 points a week. So I like,
man. Huge.
Yeah, I like Pat there. I really like Cole Kmet coming out too. I don't know if he will be a good fantasy asset. I think he'll always be on the field for the Bears, though.
Sure.
He's got a great blocking game. Overall, I think he's going to actually be a stud tight end in the NFL, which doesn't translate to fantasy.
Sure.
But it depends on if Justin Fields is going to lean on him a little bit. So he learned from Jimmy Graham last season, and, he could get some opportunity, man. Seems like they want him to be a playmaker.
Yeah, Jimmy Graham's probably a Hall of Famer in reality. So,
no doubt.
Great person to learn from. I also think Adam Troutman's an intriguing young tight end as well. That's where I thought you were going to go. I should have known it was Kmet, though,
Yeah, hey, dude, my brother's going to get a Kmet jersey because he went to Notre Dame. And I'm like, dude.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. And I don't know how much you know about this guy because I don't know too much about him. But Noah Gray of Kansas City, I've been seeing his name pop up a lot on DLF. Is this guy like the project that Travis Kelce is teaching? Is he his apprentice? What's going on with this kid?
I had a great OTA, man. He had a great few weeks, at OTAs or camp, whatever you would consider that. Kelce, I think I said it on DLF, man. Kelce, he's not getting any younger. Obviously, Gray is probably a free agent in every league outside of super deep or tight end premium. But yeah, man, if you've got the roster spot and no tough cuts, yeah, I'd stash him. The kid's flashed well. Another guy, Jacob Harris for the Rams, is getting a lot of pub. Crazy athletic, kind of like all the new tight ends now. Just crazy athletic, super fast, matchup nightmare. All those things you read. So, yeah, I think a lot of these kids, almost none of them pan out for fantasy. But, hey, man, if you can hit on a tight end you pulled off waivers, there's nothing better in fantasy.
Darren Waller.
Yeah, Waller, exactly.
Low-key, maybe Logan Thomas this year. Logan Thomas could be like that next Darren Waller, per se. Who knows, dude?
Yeah, he was a top 5 last year. So, yeah, Noah Gray's getting a lot of pub, man, for sure.
Yeah,
but
good.
Obviously, he's a tight end. It could take 3 to 5 years. Just set him and leave him. Just forget you even have him.
Why not?
He doesn't do anything. He's an easy cut or an easy drop
Yeah.
But, if it's anything like our big league, there's nothing out there anyways. So you might as well stash a guy with some big upside. What are you going to
Especially if they're on Kansas City.
Yeah, you're going to pick up Kiki QT? Come on.
Exactly. Honestly, I had hopes for that guy a few years ago.
Right, we all did.
Hey, did you see that Greg Olsen, George Kittle, and Travis Kelce they're basically hosting Tight End University where tight ends can go to school there. And Cole Kmet was there, brother. Cole Kmet was there. So that's dope, by the way. That they're all on different teams and organizations, but they all have a common goal of just playing football, having fun, making some do-re-mi,
Yeah, man, I think it's a cool idea. Greg Olsen seems like a super cool dude in real life. He's probably a great guy to learn from. He hung around. He battled through, a decade?
Ton of injuries, dude.
Yeah,
tons of foot injuries.
Football, He wanted to play. So good guy to learn from,
Absolutely. And shout out to his son, actually. They successfully, he had a heart transplant. So I read that it went well. Actually, like as of a week or two ago, he was released. So That's
Yeah, pretty
awesome,
awesome.
man. That's what's up. I love hearing stories like that where people are pushing through some hardships.
Yeah, it's
So
good to hear, man. Another possible Hall of Famer. I would assume Greg Olson could get a look, at
I
some
hope so. He seems like
super
a
good.
great guy on and off the
Good.
field. All right, Tyler, last position, kickers, sleeper picks. Right now, who you got?
Sleeper pick for kickers. I mean, I've been watching a lot of the Euros, so I'm gonna go Xhaka for Switzerland today. Who knows, man? Maybe he's got a career in the NFL at some point. Who
I
knows?
love it, man. Honestly, I don't know much about soccer. I probably can only name like two official players, Messi and Ronaldo. So
Yeah, I knew it
that's
was coming.
disappointing. Dope, man. Dope. Cool. Well, hey, man, that's gonna wrap up the episode. You got anything you want to say before we sign off here?
Doing a little hometown love, man. I'd like to give a shout out to Demarius Thomas, who retired today, retired a Bronco. Got a nice going out speech from Peyton Manning, Super Bowl champ here. Great player for Denver. I mean, one of the better, easily a top 10 receiver in the history of Denver. I think
I think he was second all-time receiving yards or
yeah, I
something,
think,
or, or receptions.
I think his career here was very underrated. Obviously, it was a shame when he left. He never found much traction, but just shows, man, the NFL, when it's over, it's over. But DT was is a top 10 wideout for years in the whole NFL. So good to see him retire a Bronco. My wife used to go to all the opening Denver nights for season ticket holders. Supposed to be a super cool guy, down to earth. So great dude. Wish him the best in retirement. Wish I was I think DT's younger than I wish I was retired. That sounds phenomenal.
What are you doing with your life making fantasy
Yeah,
football podcasts when you could be a retired NFL wide receiver?
You're wishing the guy a good life. He's 34 years old, man. Like,
that's dope.
That to be done.
That's dope. And yeah, he's an honorary captain for the opening game this year.
That's awesome,
Denver,
man.
so
Yeah,
that's sick.
Good stuff. Good stuff for
Sweet.
DT.
Dope. Well, all right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Be sure to hit us up if you're interested on Twitter, Instagram, DLF. I've been getting a little aggressive on some of these Dynasty League football posts. I'm not gonna lie. Not many people are responding to my aggressive posts, which is probably for the better. But make sure that you guys realize that fantasy football is all year round. Dynasty football more so. Screw redrafts, man. No, I'm just joking. But Dynasty football is all year round. So stay calm and remember, you're in this for life.